we are back, guys. I sincerely apologize for that needing to take a second, but we should be cleared up now. So, with me here today, I have Lewis, aka Sood Slayer.
Hello.
And Samuel J, aka Samuel J.
Mumble, mumble, mumble.
That should be working a little bit better than now. Okay, it seems like they are actually able to hear us now. So, for those who were following, Busty just 2-1 Pandemonium, winning that match and moving on. Our current brackets, let me get a refresh on those real quick. Apparently, XSplit eats up a lot of my bandwidth, so it does take a second for me to get those refreshes.
Everybody keeps adding the second S to Prince's. It doesn't make any sense.
So what do you guys think about following Mojo, Jojo versus Busty?
That sounds like a good match.
We'll search that up real quick. And it looks like it is not up just yet. So we'll give them just a second to catch up with us there. Just kind of come Lewis, while we were off air, you kind of mentioned something about the Shadow Heroes. Maybe you'd like to say it for the class? I guess not. So he was mentioning earlier that a lot of a lot of Shadow Heroes have fallen very quickly in the early stages of this.
I didn't realize I was muted for that entire explanation. Now I feel silly.
A little bit, yeah.
I should feel silly. I give such a detailed explanation, and none of it went through.
Well, now's your time to restart it.
I'm pretty sure I've already forgotten most of it, but the point of it was that we've seen, as a lot of friends say, that there's, a lot of the Shadow Heroes are lauded as being top tier heroes and doing well in the quick match and being played heavily at the higher levels. For all of that praise, we're seeing an awful lot of Amber, some Boruses, some Allowance, a lot of human heroes being played heavily in this event. So it's kind of indicative of what they were expecting to play against. And we're seeing a lot of those human heroes advance. We just saw on the stream a Zaladar, which is one of the higher respected heroes in the quick match ladder being, knocked down to the losers bracket.
And we just have word in that K.A. Leo has knocked out Poochie and is continuing on to the semis. This is actually advancing a lot faster, not just because of the fewer number of players. The games almost seem to be going faster now than they were in the original. And on that note, Busty versus Imigore is on. You guys ready to hop in and see this?
Nope. Let's go.
Yep.
So I was spying the Jackie match. That's not looking too good for Mr. Jackie.
We again see a Zaladar versus Amber, one of the very few Shadow Heroes to have made it this far. And it's kind of humorous. Zaladar being such a heavy control hero, the Warriors I think were brought to this meta because they were predicting more mages, and Zaladar being a direct damage style control hero is kind of countered by that as well.
Indeed. His Morphicom usually play a big factor in this matchup. As he can steal a Blood Frenzy or shift, Crimson Blow shenanigans, as we saw the day before yesterday, where he shifted from one of his own guys to one of the opposing allies to another of one of the opposing allies.
So what I'm curious about here is Amber's kind of gone for an ally in the beginning. Is she going to go for the super aggressive opening, or is she going to counter Zaladar's draw engine with her own? Sam, any thoughts on that?
I'm not sure how she'll go about that. I mean...
and he's going to go with the Frenzy.
Yeah, it looks like... I would try and... I don't know.
I don't know.
There's too many ways to go here.
I think the Amber player made her decision and went forward with a nice solid Blood Frenzy, just trying to get that draw engine to keep options on the table.
Agree.
I'm almost ought to go with Blood Frenzy when I'm Amber. I mean, it's really her best bet.
Spectral Saber drops to the field, gets a nice little buff there.
Yeah. Blood Frenzy is never a bad play to play. As far as whether or not it's the right play, I mean, what's in your hand plays a big part of that as well. But I mean, pushing an aggressive start is never a poor way to go either.
To the people in the chat that are commenting that our audio is much better now, the great thing about having constant screw-ups is you learn how to fix them very, very quickly.
Yes, Schoolhouse Rock taught me lots of words. I feel free to use them now.
Here we see Zaldar making a very strong play for the board, kind of leaving Amber as a position where she's going to have to start playing multiple threats a turn. And she does exactly that. A threat and an answer all in one.
Or crippling blows. So now it's time where we are accustomed to seeing Antimatter start putting work in, where Zaldar has 5 and 6 and 7 resources where he can do it taking a little bit less punishment for doing it.
Instead, he's going to charge up his ability and pass the turn and hand it right back to Amber. He's obviously trying to save that to where he could take out multiple allies in one shot, rather than risk a retreat, buffing the Aldon back to full and wasting his ability. He's just basically sacrificing that turn.
Yeah. As you can see, Busty's trying to push as much advantage as possible because he just does not want to go to a game 3.
Well, elementals are the kind of heroes that get stronger the later the game goes on, so he's definitely going to want to wrap this up as quickly as possible.
Yeah, elementals are more controlling late game, whereas Amber is more of a mid-range kind of aggro hero, and typically late game control usually beats mid-range if mid-range doesn't snap it up early.
Interesting play stunning the Gargoyle with the Laerian Seductress instead of the Fury and Terror.
That may be in part because he's anticipating maybe obviously killing the Fury, which he did, but maybe more for Armor to come down, which he doesn't have the Shadow Energy for. But maybe Sabotage, maybe just kind of hedging his bets just to make sure no shenanigans happen. Orbit Acolyte.
A strong counter play over there on the Zaldar side, keeping the board present enough just to keep enough threats out so that Amber can't death race him. Amber electing to not sacrifice, keep another Seductress on the field, and just put damage on the hero.
Yeah, you see he's trying to create that life disparity that we were talking about the other day that you look for when you're damage racing. Obviously, Busty doesn't have access to fireballs here, but the higher the damage disparity, the more he can really kind of push an advantage, and as a weapon hero can just go straight to the hero.
He's got 4 resources open. He's going to select to go ahead and put the Seductress out, but just a little too much board presence out.
A small Seductress army.
Yeah, he's got a little harem there of 3 foily Seductresses.
And you could tell there was a delay there where he had to consider whether to play the 3rd Seductress or let the 4 resources just go.
I believe he's trying to distract Imigore with the cards at this point.
I mean, there is a lot of foil in play.
There is. Women. And women. Yeah, we can see that Busty is elected to go for the most blinged out deck imaginable. Can't blame him.
Mind Control and the Seductress going to put in a little double work there, clearing her and the Jeweler's Dream back off the field. And still, Zaldar staring down the barrel of 2 Laerian Seductresses ready to go. Well, if you're going to stare down the barrel of anything, I think that's the barrel you want to be staring down.
That's a nice barrel. It's one of the better.
I think that they are a high-caliber woman, you know?
Woman of high quality, I believe. Really, no comments, no words, no words. Ooh, he's just gonna go straight for the hero. Let's see, does he have secondary play to deal with? Indeed, he does. He has the retreat for the Afterlight. And if you're Imigore here, you're that life point disparity is starting to become relevant, start to become a real thing. I wonder if he's gonna, have a Furion or a way to help kill both Seductresses to just limit the amount of damage he's taking.
How many allies does Imigore have in his graveyard?
That's quickly gonna be relevant if he has Soul Release.
Soul Reaper also.
Soul Reaper? Okay. Yeah.
There we see Amber again taking a second to just calculate the math, figure out the board, and just figure out the best way to stay in this game. I mean, she's got the health point lead right now. She has enough burst damage to really do some damage to Zaldar. It's just going to be if she can leverage it or not.
Well, absolutely. I mean, they both have a full grip of cards, so they're not wanting for options on either end. Interesting, choosing to attack before playing anything to forego the resource.
Well, she played the bad Santa, so she was 2 resources down, so she just recapped herself.
So, yeah. I apologize for that, folks. Switching between tabs, I missed that one play.
And we see again, Amber is taking the time, calculating out the resources and the curves, making sure that the play she makes is the play she needs to make right now.
Yes, it's complicated terms like this that really decide a match. Ooh, a card we do not typically see at competitive events such as this is Valiant Defender.
And she's laying it out ahead of time, basically saying, yes, you're going to get to my hero one shot, but actually no, with the Furion crippled, she actually has the board, and she's going to try and shield whatever ally she plays next turn.
Absolutely. So, I'm not altogether sure the Valiant Defender is going to play a heavy role in this match, but showing it to his opponent is definitely going to change his combat math a little bit. Ooh.
Acid Jet.
Well-timed Acid Jet there, trying to messing with Amber a little bit, trying to say, okay, you're not quite got me yet. I just want to say, with Amber's health as low as it is, this is still anyone's game. A nice fatty ally is going to help seal it for Amber, but a mind control counters that and wraps it up for Zaldar.
Ooh. That's going to be something that may be an issue, as Imigore is going to have to mind control it because he cannot ping it with his ability, cannot use it in combination of Fury and Terror or anything other than a card that flat out kills it. To deal with it, he cannot attack for a way to kill
Personally,
it.
if I'm Imigore, I'm seeing that as the light at the end of the tunnel. That extra 2 damage was just enough to put him at the fact that he can't handle another Amber weapon, and that puts him on the clock for when's the next time Amber going to have a weapon charged.
Yes, that's a pretty solid turn for Busty there. He's plus 10 in health right now, which he can kind of use as a little bit of a resource to kind of buffer and hopefully squeak out some extra damage. Yeah, I wonder if a Soul Release is going to come down to kind of boost Imigore Zaldar back up out of range of any sort of lethal blows.
And there we see the mind control dropping, taking out the Wild Berserker. Now here's the question, does he have that Soul Reaper in hand to get his health back up and get him out of this death range? And it looks like no,
he does not.
He did not. He is trying to dig for something.
He is digging for it.
He needs to take out 1 damage.
And there's the Wild Berserker wrapping it up.
Good game.
Good game indeed.
Great
so we'll
game,
give the
actually.
contestants there a second to catch up and catch their breaths and get ready for their next match. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, the winner of this will be moving on to the winner's bracket finals, where they'll be playing against the winner of the KA Leo versus Lying Dragon match, and the winner of that setup will go on to face the winner of the loser's bracket. So they'll get a little bit of a reprieve while the loser's bracket goes through its fighting and catches up to them. And then the winner of this day's events will be determined. The winner of this day's events will then, everyone will get to come back again tomorrow for day 2 events. They'll put it in, battle each other out, and the winner of that event will go against the winner of today's event later on in the week to determine who is our world champion.
Absolutely. I'm, quietly peeking in on the Eclipse match in the losers bracket right now, where we have Zana against Zara, which is a slugfest to say the least. Both heroes play very similarly, and both have very late game oriented styles where they get stronger as the game goes on. So it'll be interesting to see if there's an advantage on either end there.
I see the Jackie Slowtown game just started in the lower brackets. So did the Eclipse Pandemonium game.
I was actually just about to note, Eclipse has knocked K.A. Henson out of the loser's bracket and is making his way back up to try and redeem his title from a first round knockout. Knockdown, I should say.
Indeed.
Indubitably.
I feel like the player. I feel like his ears must be burning because his name comes up. It comes up quite often.
To answer Mip's question in chat, does the winner of the loser bracket have to win twice in finals? No. The winner of the loser's bracket has to come back in and face the winner of the winner's bracket and do another best of 3. The winner of that is declared the winner of this event. Bear in mind, though, that a winner of the loser's bracket will have had to play almost twice as many matches as the winner of the winner's bracket. So they're going to have to invest a lot more time and effort to get to that point. That's going to cause a drain on them. Meanwhile, the winner of the winner's bracket is going to have had a little bit of time to rest, recuperate, scout the matches. They're going to be in the better position overall.
Yeah. Yeah, for Busty's Imigore's game is up now.
Correction to me coming from one of the tournament organizers. It is a best of 5 finale, not a best of 3. That was on my mistake. And it looks like the BP Imigore versus A1 Busty game is back up, so let's get in there.
The finals tomorrow starts at, I believe, 2 p.m. GMT. Somebody's asking in chat.
Oh, what was the question in the chat now?
They said, what time will the final... Well, not sure about the final tomorrow, but the matches will start at 2 p.m.
Well, GMT...
Finals will be hours later.
1:30 GMT tomorrow is when the events, the broadcasting will start. And 2 p.m. is when the actual tournament will start tomorrow. Yes, we are in the match now, as we can see that Imigore is trying to get off to a more aggressive start, trying to suck up as much damage away from his hero as possible. Now, as I have not seen all his matches, I'm not sure if he is running soul release or not.
There's the morphic armor to take his frenzy.
And there we see that morphic armor you kept predicting to put in work, giving him all the draw advantages. Like, you don't have more draw advantages than Zaldar right now.
Nope. He has 2 draw engines in play, and it's very quickly going to become an embarrassment of riches.
Wonder if he's got a sack lame in hand for that crippled garage.
Even if he doesn't, he may eventually get it, and that will just give him all the options in the world.
Now we see him leveraging both draw engines, giving himself the nice full hand, giving him plenty of options to how he wants to fight for the board. Amber, on the other hand, a very aggressive field at the moment, lots of damage she can output, really, really strong sitting for her.
Okay, so
Using his Jasmine's ability on Karash again.
Again, have to be concerned with that Morphic armor dropping and moving the crippling blow over to something else. That can be very relevant very quickly.
Yeah, I can't altogether argue with using the ability on the crush, especially if you had the resource available that you weren't going to do anything with anyways. Knowing that Busty does not have a blood frenzy, his blood frenzy was taken from him, very unceremoniously, might I add. And knowing that the Deathmage Thaddeus is not likely to really ever attack, not in this matchup at least. So just figured he was just kind of hedging his best at putting on the crash, just in case.
If you had the extra resources and nothing else to spend it on, it makes perfect sense. There we see a Mind Control coming down, doing a little bit of work, getting that Jeweler's Dream and a Jasmine off the field at the same time.
I call that value 2 for 1 right there.
Now he's got a really good question where to put that Thaddeus ability. Does he want to put it on one of the... Yep, he goes ahead and brings the Seductress down into Zaldar's kill range. He's basically saying, I am going to wipe this board next turn, Amber. You need to deal with that.
Well, it depends on what Busty has, where now he has the Jeweler's Dream, which will allow him to deal with Thaddeus and actually...
Oh, he's choosing to go for the hero, put a little more damage on Zaldar again. Well, a little. I don't really consider 8 damage a little.
Agreed.
It's just a little touch.
Yeah, just
the touch, the feel of cotton.
Just a
he's going
smacking.
for damage racing here. It's a very brazen play.
Kind of an interesting play, though, because he knows now Zaldar has the ability to completely wipe his side of the board and put damage on the hero rather easily this turn.
Agreed.
Ooh, and that Acid Jet makes it just a nice, clear board. Zaldar's got the control on this. He's a lot lower on life at this point. I mean, significantly lower. But he has so much more presence on the board right now. If I'm Amber, I'm actually a little bit concerned.
Well, yes, especially if he... okay, he's going to contribute the antimatter here. I was going to say if he adds another board presence to go with the Thaddeus, but he's just going to advance in his hand position, just sculpt his hand to what answers he wants. Usually, Busty's going to just go upstairs and go straight for the hero, seeing that that Blood Frenzy will eventually start being a curse as well as a gift.
Blood Frenzy now has gone from making this game relevant for Zaldar to maybe being what kills him.
Maybe, I mean, it would be very odd if he played a Morphic Armor and gave it back, just so it didn't kill him.
It's a very strange move.
Like, actually, I would like to see that, actually. That would just be fantastic. I would like to see that. Like, yes, I will steal your Blood Frenzy, but it might kill me, so you can have it back now.
And there we see the Zaldar ability again, cleaning up the field. And Zaldar's just kind of on a wing and a prayer right now. He needs to get a lot more damage on Amber, which requires him putting out a lot more allies than he has right now. And there's the Gargoyle on cue.
And there's a Jeweler's Dream on cue, which, considering Busty's previous choices, we're likely to see just go straight for the hero.
Well, at this point, that's the smartest play. Just get out on the hero, let that Blood Frenzy do a little bit more work, and then he just needs to draw another weapon at any point in this game to wrap up.
Yeah, well, right now, Imigore's on a 1-turn clock, so he has to have an answer to that weapon, and... Interesting, I don't know if I would have played the Alden there. I mean, I guess playing the Alden was a fair play, because outside of Shriek or an Acid Jet, the Jewel's Dream is likely to still be around. He can't wear it out, so that doesn't sound too bad. I don't. Interesting, going straight for the Alden there, and well,
at this point, he doesn't have a lot of options. He can't let the Jeweler's Dream or the Alden survive.
Yeah.
There we see the Alden getting wiped off by the Fury and Terror. And I don't think he has an answer to the... Oh, there's the Soul Reaper. That's bringing him back up out of next turn death range.
by 4 though.
That crippling blow throughout this game, making it where the allies didn't have to keep getting wiped out. The few allies that Zaldar's been able to play have really mattered a lot, and you see that right there.
Absolutely, if you're Busty, you are very much so annoyed by that. But all that does is buy him 1 turn, because now he's on a 1-turn clock again. If you draw any weapon, all of a sudden he's still dead.
Yeah, if I'm Zaldar, I'm digging for just anything I think might help, but I can't think of anything that would be able to save him, because that Blood Frenzy's got him dead to rights.
Well, you gotta wonder if he might just play a Morphic Armor just for its lesser use purpose of just protecting his hero, just your damage reduction, to buy him an extra turn or so he may be able to win the damage race. Because Busty's using Amber's health as a resource. Yeah, he's almost spent the entirety of that resource now.
He's in a dangerous place right now. This is going to be pretty much the last turn of the game.
Ooh.
If Zaldar can get off that clock, if he can just keep himself alive long enough, he's going to be able to kill Amber.
Does Busty have a kill in hand? Does Busty? Yes, I believe. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
And here you are seeing the draw engines that we were talking about earlier playing a very, very relevant part.
Had he not used that second Soul Reaper.
If he hadn't had that second Soul Reaper, this would have definitely been in Amber's favor. Now it could really go either way. If I'm Amber, I am just terrified that he has that mind control in hand, and it's a good chance that he does, given how many cards he has in hand.
2, 4, 6. Yeah, if he has sculpted his hand in a very beneficial way, he could technically end the game here.
Ooh, the Shadow Vein.
That may be all it takes. I believe so. I believe that Imigore
indeed
narrowly won this.
The Shadow Vein came down and made it take it from a very close game to something he actually could win.
And he has won it. He had already said GG.
I believe 5 minutes ago, somebody in chat mentioned Amber's got this.
It certainly did look like Amber's game. And then you just saw those double Soul Reapers come down. Managed to get Zaldar just off that clock, just buy him a little bit more time, and then you just see it come down. And we have another report in of Slowtown has knocked Jackie out of the tournament and is continuing on in the loser's bracket.
I think we have the second or third game of Monomax Rafe starting. There's Eclipse Pandemonium going on. Flying Dragon KAL.
That was a very well done game by Imigore. I mean,
Indeed it was.
I am thoroughly impressed with how that game finished.
Yeah, that was a very, very complicated and detailed game. they both knew their decks and knew the matchup very well and knew what they were trying to play for. They both had clear strategies.
So let's get into Game 3 and see how it goes for them.
Let's get it going, guys.
Seeing the standard, team pass going for both heroes. Pooing out for that nice early aggression. Little extra ally on the field.
Cavalry Marino saying that Soul Reaper is overpowered now. If it inspires you to run Spirit Warden, go right on ahead, my friend. You're right on ahead.
Zaldar answering with his Karash. You could tell there was a bit of a hesitation there on the sack phase. I think, especially at this level of play, sacrificing is such a nuanced and tricky thing to do that it just has to be... I'm not shocked to see them taking that extra second or two to making sure they made the right play.
Yeah, I think in this case he wasn't sure if he should play the Karash, because if he plays the Karash and Busty has the Alden, then it's not quite a blowout, but it's close. But he was just playing there just as a check. Do you have the Alden? And if you have it, I'm gonna force you to play it.
A lot of people complain about getting horrible starting hands, but a lot of times I have it just as bad when I get an amazing starting hand. Too many good cards.
What do you sack on a fantastic starting hand?
Interesting choice, resourcing there, and playing the Seductress. I'm gonna guess that was a mistake on his part.
I don't think so. I think he's just trying to get enough on the field. He knows Zaldar well enough to know that that if he gets swarmed, Zaldar will have a little more trouble coming back from it than he does if he just waits and plays out the larger allies. So I think at this point he's just trying to get as many threats on the board as he can before Zaldar has the appropriate answers.
Good job, Kyle. Good job. Yes, it's hard to drag it all the way over. That requires a significant amount of effort and work. Indeed, it does.
Drag and drop sacrificing is more difficult than clicking.
As you can see, Imigore is trying to advance his board position by having two gargoyles, which are allies that Amber is just not a fan of seeing because they're just difficult for her to deal with.
And that came back to the Amber was trying to put out enough threats that Zaldar couldn't just outright counter them, and Zaldar adopted the strategy. He is adopting it. He is playing his own numerous allies to the field.
A lot less harder. That grammatically confuses me, GDC. yes, that come to the problem. If you're Imigore, actually, you're pretty comfortable with your position of where the game is right now, because you're technically slightly favored on board, and although your opponent having the draw engine in play, that board friendly will eventually push you out of the game. So you do need to get a more of a card like you did last time to kind of squeeze him out of card advantage. You can sculpt your hand into.
Well, you've already seen that draw engine matter because he didn't sacrifice last turn. He had to skip a sack phase. I think 2 sack phases now, just to keep cards in his hand.
I like Meek's comment. That just makes me laugh. Interesting. We have not seen Busty play a weapon yet, so he may be him not having it. Maybe him just choosing to push a board advantage with allies first, so he can play around with acid jets.
I'm curious if that's what's going on, or if he just genuinely hasn't drawn into his weapons like he needs to, or if he's kind of laying off the weapons a bit and trying to keep board threats on allies because he knows those are a little bit harder for Zaldar to deal with at this point.
Oh, I apologize to you guys by referencing a comment. It's gonna make the make the audio stream without the chat box be a little bit awkward.
Ooh, there we see the Wild Berserker dropping down, neutralizing allies. It's definitely become more of a fight for the board than a death race. I think both heroes realize if they let the board go at this point, they're going to lose this game very quickly, and they're both just making strives to be like, okay, I have to keep board relevance.
I see what you all are doing there. I see what's happening.
Again, noting that that the people who are watching this after our live stream have no clue what Lewis is talking about. Now that they've discovered he'll respond to things in chat without referencing them first, he's just going to keep. They're going to try and troll him into keep doing it, which is working fantastically.
Yeah, they're trying to get me to comment. I'm like, I see what that is. I'm not gonna take the bait, but I see what you're trying to do. Moving on to the game, that Seductress right there was played for full value by disabling the Fear and Terror. And
quickly countered with that Mind Control. 2 damage may not be the most relevant thing normally, but right here it's keeping the board nice and under control for Zaldar, keeping all the allies in his ability range, and it's making his Fury and Terror just nightmarishly scary.
Absolutely.
And there we see the Poon with the Aldon combo going to take that Furion out, saying, no, Zeladar, you're not going to get the board and the life advantage on this. You know, for Zaldar having no draw engine, he's faring remarkably well at the moment.
Well, yeah, I mean, Zaldar is one of those heroes that is essentially just good stuff. There's very little filler or cards that aren't high-value cards in his deck at all. So that pretty much everything he draws is just, value.
And Kyle, creator of the game and creator of the Zaldar Rolling Pin deck, shouts out his Go Zal, cheering for the hero more than anything.
Absolutely. Kyle is a admitted fan of Zaldar.
Zaldar is now leveraging Antimatter, dropping it and using it in the same turn. Activates his ability to clear off both Poons, leaving the Aldon all alone. Or as I like to say, all by himself. Don't want to be. All by himself.
All by himself. Yes, we are half a step away from an acapella group, everybody. Just one.
I was getting there.
Okay. As you can see, Busty repopulating the board.
Just trying to get ahead of Zaldar's mind controls and ability. Just doing everything he can to try and get ahead of it. Zaldar now is digging, trying to get answers to this kind of thing. Or maybe he's saying, at this point, I have the health advantage. My allies going to the grave is just better for my Soul Reapers. It's time for me to just get damage on Amber.
Well, it may also be that knowing that Amber's healing is nowhere near as potent as a Soul Reaper type of card, and the primary healing that he's likely to see is Enrage. He hasn't seen a Rampage yet, so he can use Morphic Armor on the Enrage. So he may be able to.
Well, we just saw a really interesting play. He drew cards off the Antimatter and sacked the Morbid Acolyte rather than actually playing it down and getting his own ally on the field, even though he would have had enough resources.
Well, the question is, what did he pick over the Morbid Acolyte?
That is a big question right now. And there we see Amber using that one turn to take Zaldar from being largely in the life point lead to actually substantially below her.
I guess it would be something like Fury on Terror or some sort of shadow energy gaining.
Well, note that the two I can play, I believe, well, now 4 all have 4 health, so using the shadow energy game may not be enough. Busty seems to be pretty far ahead on board, and life advantage, he seems to have a pretty decent advantage in life.
We saw the Soul Reaper there, but I'm not sure it was enough to actually keep Zaldar alive in this game. This may actually be the last turn.
This may be. I believe
Zaldar will escape the turn. He will survive to the end of it, but it's going to be by very, very little, it looks like.
So he's currently dead on board.
Interesting play, retreating the Gargoyle back to Zaldar's hand, allowing him to replay it now.
That may just been a play to avoid sacrificial lamb refilling his hand cheaply, or a morphic
Or
armor
morphic
moving,
armor.
moving it to me. And here does come the morphic armor.
And now you see Morphic Armor being used for its, as you said earlier, lesser-known purpose of actually being an armor.
And Imigore is going to call GG.
Eclipse has been taken out by Pandemonium.
In a 2-0 route.
2-0. And he
Yes,
did play the morphic armor, so
sadly,
it's a good thing he
Zana's
got
just
rid of
not
that.
going. Yeah, sadly, Zana's just not going to get there today.
And it looks like Busty will be moving on.
There were not enough cards in that Zaladar, Kyle claims.
That would explain the loss.
Indeed.
It's,
Zal's deck was
must
too
be
small.
it.
Yes, Kyle made the comment that Zal's deck was too small. It was just unfortunate that cost him the win. I believe is Lion Dragon in a match now. So our other quarterfinals for the
Lion Dragon will be our next one to watch. Looks like it's KA has won, or KAL has won one, and Lying Dragon and he are playing for their second game now. So let's jump in on that second game. It's been going for quite a while now, so apparently they are playing a very, very slugged out style game with Eldwin versus Amber. And again, going back to what you said earlier about very, very few Shadow Heroes having progressed to this point in the game, Zalor just went out again.
Well, we saw Zaldar pushed out of the main bracket, the winners bracket, but we saw Zaldar in Pandemonium's Zaldar beat Eclipse's Singleton Zana. I believe it's the only Zana of the 16. So we do have one still kicking around in the losers bracket. So
KA went with Diplomat on turn 2 again.
interesting. Diplomats. You think Diplomat is there because he was hedging his bets just in case somebody brought a Moonstalker, maybe?
Honestly, at this tournament level, I'm not really that concerned if I'm a player about Millstalker decks.
Not Moonstalker, but
An allied Moonstalker, maybe. But it still had you have to remember, going into this, I would expect a lot of mages to have made it into the tournament. And as a result, Moonstalker has issues with mages, so I'm not expecting them to do well. If I'm using that Larian Diplomat, I'm more concerned with possibly a Lance deck or Sandworms.
Maybe.
And there we see just nice back and forth on the board. They're just both working as hard as they can to get as many allies out as they can and just control this game.
Oh, absolutely. Seeing Dragon resourcing the card he caught from KA Leo. So we'll actually never see which card it was he took. And Leo trying to steal as many cards as possible, hoping he can possibly steal some burn.
Just so many just hard-hitting plays going on right now. But if you look at the hero hit points, neither one has really taken significant damage yet.
No, they're fighting very, very heavily for the board, which is very reminiscent of the final we saw with Lion Dragon 2 days ago, where although it was a mage mirror, they elected to forgo burn racing to be more controlling and just fight heavily for the board.
There we see the fireball getting leveraged against the Aeon there, combined with that buffed Spectral Saber taking it right out.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And then the nice Severed Ties clearing up the draw engine and the stolen smashing blow. It's a little quid pro quo there for both of them.
Yeah, so as you see, Dragon did get something relevant, something he's okay with playing. And now we're starting to see some damage on the hero, a little love tap there.
There's another Jeweler's Dream getting buffed, followed right up by a Fleet-Footed Messenger. Interesting if he'll use Fleet-Footed Messenger's ability or not, or if he's happy with his hand. Oh, nope, using that extra resource for the Blood Frenzy.
I don't know why I don't use Messenger as much in my Amber deck.
He's a really good ally for any deck that needs any kind of setup. If you're needing attachments or you're needing your weapons, Fleet-Footed's going to help you get them when you need them.
Digging for that one card.
Yeah,
Or a
what
few
are the odds
cards.
he's digging for? Maybe Enrage, maybe Rampage if he's carrying it. I wonder what are the odds he's digging for some sort of life gain, just in case.
Well, if I'm Amber, I'm kind of happy with life gain because I've already there's the Enrage. You've already seen the Severed Ties once. It's unlikely Eldrin's going to be able to use it again, and she's gone through quite a bit of burn already this game. So I'm very happy with the Enrage dropping at this point.
Oh, absolutely. Having been through 2 Severed Ties, I believe.
I was gonna say, I wonder how many Severed Ties he's holding.
Well, I mean, because we've seen at least 1, maybe 2, so he may just be banking on Dragon not having another Severed Ties.
There's the Lightning Strike again, just trying to keep the board clear and get damage on the allies.
And there's the tone to just try to refill and restock with burn.
There we see just both players now taking a second to really evaluate the situation. Eldwin probably hoping that she can use that Blood Frenzy to her advantage now. If I'm Eldwin, I'm kind of switching back gears, being like, I'm just going to keep the board and let Blood Frenzy kill her for me.
Absolutely. I've seen lots of Morn Blaze in the hand over there of K. Leo.
And there we see K. Leo taking the time, dropping another ally, trying to get some more threats out there, basically saying, no, you're not going to stall the game and wait for me to die. We're going to play the race game.
Well, yeah, I mean, he dropping a Spirit Warden, which has 5 health, so he doesn't die flat out to most of the cards in Iron Dragon's deck, so it kind of forces him to have to play something that he may not want to play, like maybe Supernova.
There we see him leveraging the retreat to get his fleet-footed back at full health, swap out some cards, and get some more damage on Elwyn. That was just a really, really well-done retreat.
Yeah, so he can push his damage lead to 7 health points now. And there's the aforementioned Nova that, if you're a dragon, you weren't exactly happy about doing.
Not happy, but comfortable. I didn't want to do it. There's tons of cards I would have rather played, but I'm not sitting here swearing about it because my thinking on this is, so long as I can keep her away from the weapons, and we've seen a lot of weapons so far, it's a good chance Ember's running low on them.
Well, Ember does have 4 cards left in her deck and a full gift of 7, so he has 11 cards to play with. Now, he does only have to do 8 damage to Flying Dragon's hero, so that those 8 cards may be enough to do it.
But he also has to do it very quickly, because with that Blood Frenzy ticking off his health and his deck thinning out as quickly as it is, that Blood Frenzy may end up doing 3 damage a turn. He's only 4 damage away from a Severed Ties being a kill card. And surprisingly drops the Dimension Ripper, which is actually going to expedite that concern.
Well, Dimension Ripper right here puts him on a 1-turn clock.
But on the flip coin of that, if he can manage to pull any level of burn from Element off that swing, he wins.
Well, the likelihood of Dragon having 13, maybe 14 damage worth of burn is not too high.
There we see the Severed Ties wrapping up the game. That was exactly what I wanted to happen if I was lying.
Yeah, it's stealing a win, if you will. I wonder how long he was sitting on that.
Well, you have to be really, really careful, because if you do it too soon, your opponent's just going to refresh the attachment and be fine. You need to time it for when it's going to do the most effective damage, and I think that was very well done on Lion Dragon's part.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can tell his patience just waiting him out until he had the kill in hand and just going for it there.
And as we can see, that makes it 1-1 for each player. They're going to be going for their game 3 to decide who goes on to our next round.
Yeah, we're getting to the nitty gritty of it. I believe this is going to be the final of whoever wins goes to the final of the winners bracket of day 1.
Indeed, that's quite the prestigious title. This is definitely somewhere you want to be.
Yeah, and let's not forget. I mean, I'm sure the players aren't particularly thinking about it right now, but there are hefty prizes at stake.
That is very, very true.
And every win that they make, every round that they win, puts them in line for heftier prizes.
Not just the prizes, but just the prestige of I made it to the finals of the winner bracket for the World Championships. I mean, that's bragging rights.
Well, just being in this event is bragging rights. I mean, they all fought long and hard to get here. This was an invite-only event, and they fought hard to earn their invites.
I think that all 16 players that are on here had every right to be on this list. I think that there is no one who can say that, they got lucky to get here. Everyone who's here has proven their merit over the years and just over the course of this past year just getting into this event.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in the case of Lion Dragon here, he's showing that getting into the event in the final seconds is not a disadvantage at all.
Well, it's kind of humorous. I mean, the last chance qualifier just ended yesterday. Like, it began and ended yesterday. It was this huge day of playing, and then he's coming back immediately today and having to do it again, and then success today only means getting to do it again tomorrow. If I'm Lion Dragon, I'm starting to get a little bit tired.
Well, absolutely. I mean, at this point, it's a battle of attrition. I mean, does he have the stamina to keep up his play at such a high level?
Maybe it's because he lies so much, he's resting for so long, and this now when he needs to step up to the plate, he has the energy and the spunk, and he's just good to go.
That may be the case. He may be, by lying, he may just be sleeping. Like, either that or there was a comment in the chat about him drinking lots of caffeine, or lots of coffee, and that may be what's happening.
I can't blame him. That's what we're using on the design team for these events.
Yes, I believe our boss, Mr. Kyle Poole, is a fan of the Red Bull, which is giving him some very glorious wings right now.
Personally, now that we've been doing the design team for a while, I would say that anyone looking to start their own video game company, get a sponsorship from an energy drink, because you're going to need it.
Well, you're going to need the drink, whether or not you have a sponsorship.
You need the drink, and because you need so much of the drink, getting it sponsored will save you thousands of dollars. Let's put it like that.
I don't know. I don't prescribe to energy drinks. I drink copious amounts of tea.
Game 3 is on the screen.
Yes, the game is up.
The game is afoot.
Yes, the game is afoot. Indeed it is, sir. I'm not sure which one of them is seeking, but it is afoot.
I think this is the hunt for the world champion. I think that's what we should call this.
Indeed, indeed.
Red October references? No one out there? A little heartbroken?
No, no heartbreak, sir. No heartbreak. I'm with you there. Yeah. Sean Connery would be proud, although he might just tell Trebek to suck it.
And here in this instance, you're kind of seeing Amber taking that second. I'm curious if what she's debating on with her sack choices are maybe the Dimension Ripper. Because while it does give you the burn against the mage, it also runs that risk of giving the mage your tech. And this Amber's running a lot of tech that's strong against herself.
Yeah, that Dimension Ripper is going to be interesting because you have to be careful with giving your opponent cards like like Smashing Blow and stuff that destroys your own weapons, or maybe even your own Aeons or stuff, or your own retreats. And you got to be careful with running cards that you don't want to face.
Well, not just those, but you also have to look at your Smashing Blows, your Spectral Sabers. Those are excellent cards for Amber to use against Eladwin. They're also excellent cards for Eladwin to use against Amber. So I'd be a little bit
I've always
concerned.
been on the wrong side of Dimension Ripper.
How so?
I am always getting the bad card and giving the good one.
Ah.
I've lost many in rages.
Well, that's because you, as the high-end player, only run good cards. But your opponents, they run the weaker cards, and so you're only getting junk from them.
Yeah. I actually saw a deck once that was themed around that. That had a bunch of Dimension Rippers and just a bunch of junk it was happy to give away.
I used to
Odd
run a
deck.
deck like that.
It's an odd deck to say the least. I'm pretty sure neither of these players are running a deck anywhere near that.
Just
Oh.
horrible cards in Dimension Ripper. It's a
Like-
great strategy.
It's a fun strategy, if nothing else.
To say the least. Well, KL is finally getting into the game now with instead of sculpting his position, he's finally actually getting into the board now. He's taking some damage, but not a mountain.
The warrior has that higher health, and that's one of the reasons they are so good against mages, is they have that higher starting health, and they have that enrage in there. That typically gives them the ability to take those extra 2 turns to get set up. And here you see it leveraged perfectly. He got the control he needed, he got the board cleared back up, and Eladwin did counter with the Sever Ties, getting that Blood Frenzy off, but her board is still completely empty. She's still passed the turn right back to Amber.
Yeah, I think in that case, you can't altogether argue with Dragon just kind of taking the turn off to deny his opponent any additional cards in hand to push any board position, considering that he doesn't have a Tome of Knowledge in play himself.
Now, the question is Amber here looking at getting another Blood Frenzy out, or is she going to focus purely on just getting board damage down?
I think he's going to choose both options.
Ah, there
And
we
go-
see the fleet-footed
The
messenger
Oracle.
drops.
The answer is yes.
The answer is yes.
Yes, I believe that's a literalist approach. The answer is yes.
Yes, she will be doing both.
Indeed.
Eldon, I'm a
Yeah,
little
Shout out to
bit...
Indeed once again.
I know, once again, he comes up. Interesting. With one card in hand and no form of draw outside of maybe the Tina Oracle swinging in and killing himself. It's really a test. Does Leo have the crippling blow?
Well, if I'm Amber, I'm not really concerned about Crippling Blow right now. The Seductress was an excellent option, but also I have a good amount of damage on the field right now.
You may be able to race.
I could probably possibly race with this setup, especially because I can suicide the Tainted Oracle into the Sandworm if I hadn't disabled it. And there we see he's basically thrown down the Nova check. He's basically saying, Eldwin, do you have a Supernova?
Going all out.
Yeah, he's going on with it, knowing that he has one durability left on his weapon, so he's going to be living off the top quite heavily.
Well, this is a bad situation for Eldwin, because if she does have the Supernova, it's going to hurt her a great deal to use it, and she's still going to take some bad damage.
She does not.
She does not, and that may actually be enough damage from Amber to just wrap this game up nice and neat for her. Not that Eldwin is out of the game, but this could create an insurmountable hill for her.
I don't know about insurmountable, but this will make it very, very difficult. Ooh, Blood Frenzy off the top. That's not a bad draw. Not a bad one.
Draw Engine is never a bad draw, that is truth.
I'm not sure what the relevance of the Spirit Warden removing is, but I guess maybe he's just ensuring that there isn't anything he can't remember or hasn't come across that might
Undying
make
Bond,
a relevant play.
you just have to be concerned about those Undying Bonds. They're rare, but if you have the extra resources, it's hurting you nothing to do it. That's proves that he's a top level player. He's making sure to remove all threats, even the imagined ones.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Even the imagined ones. Took me a second to catch that.
The threats in his head.
And here we see Eldwin's life just dropping like a rock. Amber's not even going to worry about getting that Aeon off the board. He is just going to take
Yeah.
that Eldwin and push her hit points down so low that it's practically impossible for her to come back from this.
Yeah, he's close to dead on board, actually. I mean, Amber may well see 4 cards next turn, and that may be enough to give him a very hefty advantage.
Eldwin will likely survive the next turn. She's got enough damage out now, thanks to that Aldon with the Aeon and the Sandworm out, to really clean the board back up and get it back.
Interesting. 4 resources. You gotta wonder, what does he have left in hand that he either can't or would not play, or he would not use the Aeon's ability instead of.
That's what I was shocked about, that he didn't use the Aeon's ability to get that Sandworm up high enough to take something out.
Yeah, I wonder.
She may not be able to take anything out except for the Tainted Oracle.
I'd like to see a Sever Ties here. You come and just, see if he can turn the game around.
Nope, Lion doesn't believe he can do anything with the game. He has conceded the match.
Yes, and that was game 2 and 3.
That was game 3. Lion Dragon has put himself down to the loser's bracket.
Wow, so Lion Dragon out in the semifinals.
That
finals is
leaves
now
K.A.
Busty.
Leo versus Busty for our winner's bracket finalists. So while we wait for the next match to get ready for us, for you guys watching the stream live, what's been your favorite matchup so far?
I don't know if I would say as for my answer to the question, I don't know if I would say my favorite matchup, but I was really keen to see how Iclipse would do, considering he's the reigning champion, considering he's the only person I believe who brought Priest to it. We're seeing very narrow hero selection in the event here. I guess that's indicative of what they thought they were going to face. And I was very intrigued to see, how he adjusted it from just call the Crystal card to include Dark Prophecies, and how he adjusted to what he thought he was going to face. I mean, it's tragic to see him losing out the way he did it today, but I was really intrigued to see what he would bring and how he would play it.
It's also worth knowing that this isn't the end of the road. Even though it's in the double elimination, if they go down, they get to come back tomorrow, do day 2 event, and winning that still puts you as the ability to become world champion. So I believe our tournament organizer Trevor, aka Majumbo, earlier was talking about this. I don't know if it was on the stream or if it was in private, but he mentioned that if you look at it as a certain way, you almost have 4 lives in this event.
Essentially, yes, you do.
I mean, you can lose once in the main round, lose again in the loser's bracket, lose again in the main round of the event tomorrow, and still come back and take it.
You can.
You have one of the hardest comeback stories of all time.
Absolutely. It's going to be very, very difficult to achieve, but it is mathematically possible.
Someone, of course, had to bring up YOLO. We on the design team say NOLO.
Yes, Joey. Sir Joey made a comment about us having 74 viewers, and indeed we do, and we are proud for all 74 of them.
We thank you guys so much for taking the time to jump in and watch these games with us and play these games with us. A lot of you are asking about us being on mobile. We are working to get there. Unfortunately, until we have a significant number of viewers, Twitch does require a large number of viewers for us to be on the mobile. If you want to help us get there, if you want to make it where you can watch this stream on your mobile phone, please tune in every week at 7 p.m. GMT. I'm sorry, 5 p.m. GMT to our weekly stream show. That way you guys can watch. You can get the latest news from the design team. We've been doing 2 spoilers every week for the past several weeks. We have a special guest every week, and we keep you appraised of all the newest events.
Along with that, make sure to follow us on Twitch. is so you can be up to date with any streams we do for any tournaments, any pop events, anything we do on Twitch at all. So you can kind of know what's going on and know which events or information we're highlighting that week or that day.
We are, in the meantime, working on getting our YouTube channel filled up with all of our Twitch streams so that you guys will get a little bit more life out of that. That way you can watch something on mobile. But if you want it live, just need you and every friend you've got tuning in to us on the Saturdays at 5 p.m. GMT.
Unfortunate news there. There's Eclipse has commented in the chat that Lion Dragon has informed everybody that there was an issue on his device with the client or whatever, and he had answers at hand, and that caused him to be kicked out of the client. That is tragically unfortunate.
Yeah, I hate it when that happens.
Indeed. Unfortunately, we are going to have to play on them.
That is always unfortunate to take a loss over something like that, but the great thing is, in this double elimination event, he just drops down into the loser's bracket and has a very strong chance of coming back. He's played some great games. I would not be shocked to see him back at the other side of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. He's a high tier player, and we're looking forward to seeing if he can march his way back up. Unfortunately, his road just got that much more difficult, but in events such as this, skill typically wins out.
Indeed, and he's already shown he has a great deal of endurance from winning the last chance qualifier yesterday, so if someone's going to come back from the loser's bracket and take a win, he's proven himself to be a contender for it.
Yeah. Would have liked to have seen how that one would have played out.
It would have been an epic game to watch, because the lightning strike with the right math would have evened things up a little bit for him.
Yeah, the lightning strike may well have allowed him to mitigate the damage, maybe take the board back.
He wouldn't have had the board back completely. There would have still been something on the opposite side looking down
there
at
would have
him.
been one ally. There would have been one ally, probably maybe a Spirit Warden, maybe. Actually, no, maybe a Seductress, but
It would probably have been the fleet-footed messenger left on the board.
Probably. But his opponent would have had 2 full cards in his hand when it was all said and done.
His opponent would have had hand advantage and would have had the higher hit points, whereas the other one would have had no hand but had the board. So it would have been a really fun game to watch. Do 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 do.
We do need like elevator music for
Nice tunes.
moments where we're waiting for for games to kick up. So, well, I mean, while it's a momentary downtime while waiting for some of the matches to start, what do you guys think of the stream so far? Any unexpected losses, any unexpected wins? What do you guys think?
Still waiting for this final to start.
We actually have starting to hear cries out or cheering squads in the chat room right now.
Yes, we are. I believe Jackie is rooting heavily for Busty. Pelstich as well, casting vote for Busty. So seems like Busty has a little bit of a fan club brewing.
Well, Busty's been around for a long time, been an active member of the community, been in multiple PFGs if memory serves, so I'm really not shocked to see that the community is aware of him and really wants to see him go far. It's also possible that some of the people he's knocked out along the way want to see him take it, so they don't feel so bad about getting knocked out along the way.
I'm waiting for the cheer squad for K.A. Leo to come in.
This cheering is getting out of hand here.
Yeah, it's getting a little interesting.
It is indeed kind of silly. According to Joey, all of the other KA guys are currently sleeping. Which may be true, actually, considering the time difference.
That is a very relevant point.
Now, do we know what's holding up the match, or is it...
There were some issues on the losers bracket at the moment that was causing the forum tournament queue was setting it up incorrectly and had some unfair bias going. So we are taking a moment to reorganize that, and I believe that because it's being done through our IRC channel, K.A. Leo and Busty may be waiting on that to have been cleared up.
Okay, sure.
What is K.A. Leo playing again?
He is... I believe they're both playing Amber.
I believe so as well.
Where was that music that was playing?
If so, it wasn't mine. Have you started to lose your mind?
I meant the elevator music we were getting.
We should do the Shadowrun soundtrack. Let's do that.
Well, I can turn on the game music. Let's do that.
It's like I actually think I have that on tap.
There we go. That's for everyone out there. A little Shadowrun music in the background.
I don't think we can hear anything. Well, maybe we can pop into one of the losers bracket games until K.A. Leo gets things going. See, I believe Poochie Monomax just started a game. Let's see how that's going.
Go Monomax. Not showing any bias.
Not showing any bias at all.
And just to counter the Monomax bias, first let's get the music back off. Search. I will do the search by A1 Poochie. And let's jump in.
And we're seeing a Bango for first time in a while.
So this is our first game, having watched the losers bracket that I'm aware of, and a Bainbo, as Lewis was just saying. I didn't know he even had made it into the tournament.
I haven't seen him play yet. I did see. I think I caught most of one of Monomax's games earlier.
As we've seen an awful lot of Amber today, do you think? How do you think this plays out for or against her against the direct damage here that really doesn't care much about Sandworm or choose through the 2 and 3 cost allies pretty quickly?
I think the Bainbo, depending on how it's piloted, is going to have a bit of an advantage here, because Amber is a bit easier to tech against. You can carry a Sever Ties, a little bit of armor, a little bit of item destruction, and Amber suddenly has an uphill battle. Whereas Amber, there's not one set of tech you can carry that really makes you great against a Bainbo.
Smashing Blow helps.
Smashing Blow helps, getting that armor / draw engine off the field as quickly as possible.
Blood Frenzy helps more.
True.
I think Blood Frenzy helps like a lot against pretty much every matchup. The Poochie was actually relying on that.
Behemoth's going down.
And if I'm Amber, that's the card I did not want to see. The Plasma Behemoth is a two-fold threat, which Amber's really only equipped to deal with on one side of.
Yeah. Plasma Behemoth is a card that Amber's going to have a lot of trouble with because it does not need to attack to be relevant, so crippling it doesn't really slow it down very much. And you can see the respect for the Behemoth. He's just going to attack into it and not play another ally, which I don't know if I would make that play of not playing another ally into it so that he has something else to use his ability on.
Well, she may not have been able to. And there we see again, I was saying that the item destruction for Bainbo could be leveraged well. Cleans out that Jeweler's Dream, robbing it of almost all value, and letting the Plasma Behemoth just get free damage in.
Well, we're seeing a second Jeweler's Dream come now, and we're seeing the real power of Blood Frenzy coming in, where it's just keeping his hand full of options and full of tools.
And yet we're seeing resources off the Jeweler's Dream that aren't getting utilized. Amber is not as great on her hand power as she would like to be at the moment.
Yeah, agreed.
There we see Bainbo's ability and a little bit of a Soul Seeker hit in the field, keeping the board nice and clean.
Absolutely. Poochie just being very efficient with the cards he does have. She's not a resource up anymore and just be judicious with his plays.
That's Soul Seeker.
And now this is just a reminder for those of us who are just tuning in. The reason this is part 2 is because we are streaming these to YouTube after the event. Because of that, there is a restriction on how long our streams can be. So we are doing a rotation shift, where I have Lewis and Sam J on with me at the moment. In roughly half an hour, we will be taking off and allowing GDC and Mojumbo to come back on the air and stream the finale of the matchups.
Yep. I would hope we still have Kyle with us around those times. I believe we will.
And here we see Bainbo has the larger board, but that Aeon is definitely an imposing threat on the opposing side. He's looking at that Aeon like, I really wish I had Perfect Shot in hand right now.
Yeah, the Aeon was very much a check for Perfect Shot to see does he have it. And as his hand was very limited and he hasn't had a chance to draw much, he simply didn't. So that Aeon is going to put in work, and it's going to be a relevant threat that's imposing and may swing things heavily.
Well, it's curious if he just doesn't have it at all, or if he chose not to use it on that specific turn because he wants to save it for something like a Sandworm, or when he doesn't have the ability to kill the Aeon already on the field. Because right now, in terms of hit points, he is in the lead. He is, as a Bainbo player, comfortable where he's playing at.
I don't know if I'm too comfortable considering my opponent has Blood Frenzy that's just going to be drawing him lots of cards, and I don't have much form of card draw on my side.
Playing one of his 5 retreats in his hand.
Indeed. One of the 5 retreats is not
it.
being played.
Interesting play with the retreat on the DMT, considering that only cuts its damage output in half.
I don't know if I would say half, but it does cut its damage output from attacking or using its ability. So, by doing that, that does open him up to maybe being able to. By attacking the arrow, it does save the Aeon from damage on board.
It did work out rather well in his favor for that.
So the Aeon may live to see another day, but I'm not sure his days are.
They're not going to be bright, sunshiny, long days. They are definitely going to be cloudy, dark days for the foreseeable future. So, I mean, Banebo's charged up enough to use his ability 2 turns in a row now.
I don't know if I would have made the play with retreat. I don't know. I might have just killed the crash, retreated my own Aeon, and played him again, and challenged him to have another way to kill the Aeon.
That would have probably been my play as well. Just use the Aeon to soak up a little bit more damage, clear the board a little bit, and then replay him, get him back to full health.
Yeah, as that's really the only way he has to heal him.
There we see a Shadow Knight hitting the field, basically saying, I am a threat right here. Come at me, Amber.
Is that Layarian gonna have 4? Oh, he's crippled anyway.
An interesting play, crippling when he could have killed with the Seductress.
At this point, he may be just trying to turn the proverbial corner and just, start racing and just going for outright damage.
It is possible, just trying to get as much damage onto that Banebo as he can, just to keep this game from going any longer, because where Amber is an excellent mid-range hero, Banebo is probably one of the top mid-range heroes, and it's just not a place you want to be fighting him at.
Yes, as the game goes on, Banebo does get stronger. As he goes up in resources and he gets access to, cards like Sacrificial Lamb and the Wrath of Fortune, which we saw blown up earlier. He does get very, very strong.
And there we see Banebo's going to get that Aeon down in soul range, and then eat him right up with a Soul Seeker shot. Give himself a little more health back.
Indeed. Now, Monomax, the pimp, whether or not he has a weapon, may have his opponent on a 2-turn clock, so if I'm Poochie, I'm not exactly thrilled about my position, but there are worse positions to be in.
It's going to depend if he's pulled that Sever Ties at some point in this game, if he's running it, and if he's just holding on to it right now. He could actually be in a very strong position. It's just going to matter of if he has it or if he gets it in time.
It may be. I mean, a perfect shot here would help him wrap things up nicely, assuming another Aeon does not come down.
Seven resources.
7 resources open. You should be able to get some... Oh, there was the nice Priest of Light.
Nice.
Okay. That's not bad. That's a good play there. I don't think it was played for full value, because I don't think he had any Shadow Energy to take. But, the life gain was relevant.
That life gain is very relevant. It was another threat.
6 resources. Do we see a Sacrificial Lamb coming?
Or a DMT.
Most likely you're going to see a DMT Soul Seeker combo. Deal some damage, get some health back.
But that did not require a resource to do, so what's he going to do with the following 3 resources? Knowing that he's staring down 7 damage at least next turn.
Getting himself out a little more ally, because yes, he is staring down damage, but Amber doesn't have the board. She doesn't have the game wrapped up yet. She needs to keep the board still, just a little bit. Because if Poochie is hanging on to that Sever Ties, he still has game on the board right now. If I'm Amber, you have to take that into account and see that that's relevant.
And he's just going to go straight for the hero to see if he has... Okay, so Cripple's going to pull him out of range of a Sever Wind. So it's just a matter of now, does he have maybe another Soul Seeker or a way to deal with the Seductress? And
Nope.
no, he does not.
That is the game for Poochie. And again, we were theory crafting if he had that Sever Ties. We don't even know if it's in his deck or not.
GG.
Alrighty, so we are being alerted by our tournament organizers that the stream chat, or that the streamer team, needs to be changed in just the next few minutes. Don't want to jar you guys too hardcore, so figure I'll give you a little bit of a heads up. So from those of us streaming at the moment, that's Nacho Chez, Sood Slayer, and Samuel J. We are not going off the air. We are switching the streaming team. So for those of you watching, just give us about 5, maybe 10 minutes at the most, and a new team will be taking over and on the air.
Indeed.
The 5th shout out.
That's actually a good point from Kilt. Kilt in our chat says he likes how everyone that's been on so far has chosen different card sleeves. That's actually been really, really nice.
Great. I'm always a fan of seeing which sleeves people run, what the choices are. And I always like some of the retro sleeves from Call of Crystal, some of the lesser used sleeves. Like the retreat sleeves, I think are really nifty because not everybody uses them.
Yeah, I don't usually see retreat sleeves out.
That's very true. I'm a fan of my Eternal Renewal sleeves. I like to show them off. It's one of my favorite cards.
Yes, Jackie makes a comment about nobody using the same sleeves as him, which I think he uses the clear sleeves that look exactly like the card back that everybody else uses. I think that's what he uses.
Alrighty, everyone. It's been a blast, and we look forward to seeing you again for our games tomorrow, starting at 2 p.m. GMT. Take care.
Yep.